No other king could vanquish the warhorse or silence the warrior's rage while riding the lowly back of a donkey. No other king could break the dominion of darkness, the tyranny of evil, with a reign of grace and a kingdom of peace. No other king could give his life for the redemption of rebels, his wealth to welcome the outcast. Jesus is that king, the King of glory, Son of the living God. Not just another king, not just another prophet, not just another teacher. He was the one the world had been waiting for, the one to deliver us from captivity, the Son of David and Abraham's chosen seed. He is the goal of the Mosaic law, Yahweh in the flesh. He is the one to establish God's reign and rule, to heal the sick, give sight to the blind, freedom to the prisoners, and proclaim good news to the poor. This Jesus was the Creator come to earth and the beginning of a new creation. He embodied the covenant, fulfilled the commandments, and reversed the curse. This Jesus is the Christ that God spoke of to the serpent, the one prefigured to Noah in the flood, the one promised to Abraham, the one guaranteed to Moses before he died, the one promised to David during his reign, the one revealed to Isaiah as a suffering servant, the one predicted through the prophets and prepared for through John the Baptist. He is the Father's Son, Savior of the world, and substitute for our sins. More loving, more holy, and more wonderfully terrifying than we ever thought possible. He is our Jesus, and there is no other king like him. He is our God, our glory, our victorious Savior. There is no other king like him. There is no other king.
Jesus sends two of his disciples ahead, saying, "As soon as you enter the village, you will find a donkey tethered along with her young colt. Untie them both and bring them to me.
And if anyone stops you and asks, 'What are you doing?' just tell them, 'The Lord of all needs them, and he will let you take them.'"
It happens just as he says it will. Jesus mounts the donkey and heads to Jerusalem.
You are not hidden. There's never been a moment you were forgotten. You are not hopeless. Though you have been broken, your innocence stolen, I hear you whisper underneath your breath. I hear your SOS, your SOS. I will send out an army to find you in the middle of the darkest night. It's true, I will rescue you.
As he rides along, a huge crowd gathers and carpets the road before him with their cloaks and prayer shawls. Others cut down branches from trees to spread in his path.
They cry out, "Blessed is the King who comes in the name of the Lord. Peace in heaven and glory in the highest heaven."
There is no distance that cannot be covered over and over. You're not defenseless. I'll be your shelter. I'll be your armor. I hear you whisper underneath your breath. I hear your SOS, your
Some of the Pharisees in the crowd say to him, "Teacher, order your disciples to stop." He answers, "I tell you, if these were silent, the very stones would cry out."
I will send out an army to find you in the middle of the darkest night. It's true, I will rescue you. I will never stop marching to reach you in the middle of the hardest fight. It's true, I will rescue you. Oh, I will rescue you.
On the first day of the Passover, the disciples came to Jesus and asked, "Where should we prepare the Passover meal for you?"
He answers them, "My heart longs with great desire to eat this Passover meal with you."
Go into Jerusalem and you will encounter a man. Tell him, the teacher says, my appointed time is near.
I am coming to your home to eat the Passover meal with my disciples.
We will call this place our home, the dirt in which our roots may grow. Though the storms will push and pull, we will call this place our home. We'll tell our stories on these walls. Every year measure how tall, and just like a work of art, we'll tell our stories on these walls.
When evening comes, he takes his place at the table and dines with the 12.
While they are eating, Jesus speaks up and says, "One of you is about to betray me."
It is you, Judas. And you, Peter, my dear friend. Listen to what I'm about to tell you.
Satan has demanded to come and sift you like wheat and test your faith. But I have prayed for you.
So let the years we're here be kind, be kind. Let our hearts like doors open wide, settle our bones like wood. Over time, give us bread, give us salt, give us wine.
And he takes a cup, and when he's given thanks, he says, "Take this and divide it among yourselves.
For I tell you that from now on I will not drink of the fruit of the vine until the kingdom of God comes."
And he takes the bread, and when he has given thanks, he breaks it and gives it to them, saying,
"This is my body, which is given for you. Do this in remembrance of me."
And likewise the cup after they have eaten, saying,
"This cup that is poured out for you is the new covenant in my blood."
A little broken, a little new. We are the impact and the glue. Capable more than we know to call this fixer upper home. With each year our color fades, slowly our paint chips away, but we will find the strength and the nerve it takes to repaint and repaint and repaint every day. So let the years we're here be kind, be kind. Let our hearts like doors open wide, settle our bones like wood over time, over time. Give us bread, give us salt, give us wine. Let the years we're here be kind, be kind. Let our hearts like doors open wide, settle our bones like wood over time, over time. Give us bread, give us salt, give us wine. Give us bread, give us salt, give us wine. Smaller than dust on this map lies the greatest thing we have, the dirt in which our roots may grow, and the right to call it home.
Then Jesus leads his disciples to an orchard called the Oil Press. He tells them, "Sit here while I go and pray over there." He takes Peter, Jacob, and John with him. An intense feeling of great sorrow plunges his soul into deep sorrow and agony. He says to them, "My heart is overwhelmed and crushed with grief. It feels as though I'm dying. Stay here and keep watch with me."
I thought sooner or later the lights from above would come down in circles and guide me to love. But I don't know what's right for me. Carry this weight, pin on my side. Fly like a cannonball straight to my soul. Tear me to pieces and make me feel whole. I'm willing to fight for it, carry this weight. I keep questioning what is true. Fall on me with open arms. Fall on me from where you are. Fall on me with all your light, with all your light, with all your light.
Then he walks a short distance away, and overcome with grief, he throws himself face down on the ground and prays, "Father, if you are willing, take this cup of agony away from me. But no matter what, your will must be mine." Then an angel from heaven appears and strengthens him.
Soon you'll find what your heart wants to know. Don't give up hope, for I know you are close. And all you have ever dreamed and wish you could ever be is waiting to find you wherever you go. Believe in yourself every step that you take, and know I am smiling with pride every day. My love will forever be stronger than stone. Don't give up hope, you are never alone.
Fall on me with open arms. Fall on me from where you are. Fall on me with all your light, with all your light, with all your light.
When he returns again to the disciples, he wakes them, saying, "Are you still sleeping and resting? Don't you know the hour has come for the Son of Man to be handed over to the authority of sinful men? Get up and let's go, for the betrayer has arrived."
No sooner had he finished speaking when suddenly a mob approaches, and right in front of the mob was his disciple Judas. He walks up close to Jesus and greets him with a kiss.
There is a swelling storm, and I'm caught up in the middle of it all. And it takes control. The person that I thought I was, the boy I used to know. But there is a light in the dark, and I feel its warmth in my hands, in my heart. Why can't I hold on? It comes and goes in waves. It always does. It always does. We watch as our young hearts fade into the flood. Into the flood. The freedom of falling, a feeling I thought was set in stone, slips through my fingers. I'm trying hard to let go. It comes and goes in waves. It comes and goes in waves, and it carries us away.
The religious leaders seize Jesus and lead him away, but Peter follows from a distance. They bring him to the home of the high priest, where people are already gathered out in the courtyard.
Someone has built a fire, so Peter inches closer and sits down among them to stay warm. A girl notices Peter sitting in the firelight.
Staring at him, she points him out and says, "This man is one of Jesus' disciples." Peter flatly denies it, saying, "What are you talking about, girl? I don't know him."
Through the week, down to the place we used to lay when we were kids. Memories of a stolen place, caught in silence, an echo lost in space. It comes and goes in waves. It always does. It always does. We watch as our young hearts fade into the flood. Into the flood. The freedom of falling, a feeling that I thought was set in stone. It slips through my fingers. I'm trying hard to let go. It comes and goes in waves. It comes and goes in waves, and it carries us away.
Now, when Judas, the betrayer, saw that Jesus had been sentenced to death, remorse filled his heart. He returned the 30 pieces of silver to the chief priests and religious leaders, saying, "I have sinned because I have betrayed an innocent man." Then Judas flung the silver coins inside the temple and went out and hung himself.
I watched my wild youth disappear in front of my eyes. moments of magic and wonder. It seems so hard to find. Is it ever coming back again? Is it ever coming back again? Take me back to the feeling when everything was left to find.
An hour later, someone else identifies Peter and insists he was a disciple of Jesus, saying, "Look at him. He's from Galilee, just like Jesus. I know he's one of them."
But Peter is adamant. "Listen, I don't know what you're talking about. Don't you understand? I don't even know him."
While the words were still in his mouth, the rooster crows.
At that moment, the Lord, who is being led through the courtyard by his captors, turns around and gazes at Peter. All at once, Peter remembers the words Jesus had prophesied over him.
It comes and goes in waves. It always does. It always does. The freedom of falling, a feeling that I thought was set in stone. It slips through my fingers. I'm trying hard to let go. It comes and goes in waves. It comes and goes in waves, and it carries us away.
As Jesus stands in front of the Roman governor, Pilate asks him, "So, you are really the king of the Jews?" Jesus answered, "You have just spoken it." Then he was slandered and accused by the chief priests and religious leaders, but he remained silent. And Pilate said, "Will you say nothing in your own defense?"
Pilate gathered the people together with the high priests and all the religious leaders of the nation and told them, "You have presented this man to me and charged him with stirring a rebellion among the people. But I say to you that I have examined him here in your presence and have put him on trial. My verdict is that none of the charges you have brought against him are true. I find no fault in him."
When the crowd heard this, they went wild, erupting with anger. They cried out, "No! Take this one away and release Barabbas! Crucify him! Crucify him!" "Why?" Pilate asked. "What has he done wrong? I am innocent of the blood of this righteous man."
Someone told me, right clear and true about what hurts. I write my story with more than words for the voice that can't be heard. Carve my heart into this dirt.
The soldiers took Jesus into the headquarters of the governor's compound and summoned a military unit of nearly 600 men. They placed a purple robe on him to mock him. Then they braided a victor's crown, a wreath made of thorns, and set it on his head.
"Hail, King of the Jews!" They spat in his face and took the reed staff from his hand and struck him repeatedly on the head, driving the crown of thorns deep into his brow.
Someone told me there's paradise upon this earth, a page still waiting for us to turn, for the fire inside that burns, and the ashes that emerge.
They brought Jesus to Golgotha, which means Skull Hill.
They drove the metal spikes through his hands and his feet, anchoring him to the cross.
And set the cross into the ground.
Someone told me that love has no limits, no limits. Love
You boasted that you could destroy the temple and rebuild it in 3 days. Why don't you save yourself now? Just come down from the cross.
Let the Messiah, King of Israel, pull out the nails and come down from the cross right now.
Father, forgive them, for they don't know what they're doing.
It was now only midday, yet the whole world became dark for 3 hours as the light of the sun faded away.
My God, why have you forsaken me?
Father, I surrender my spirit into your hands.
And he took his last breath.
Someone told me that love has no limits, no limits. Love has no limits, no limits, no limits.
And suddenly in the temple, the thick veil hanging in the holy place was ripped in two.
The earth shook violently. Rocks were split apart.
It is finished.
Someone told me right clear and true about what hurts. I write my story with more than words.
A member of the Jewish council named Joseph, a good-hearted, honorable man, came before Pilate and asked permission to take the body of Jesus and give him a proper burial.
So he took the body from the cross and wrapped it in a winding sheet of linen and placed it in his tomb.
Mary and the other women who had followed Jesus saw all this and returned home.
For the first time in 3 years, the disciples have no one to lead them. They are together, but they are all alone. Their hopes and their dreams lie with a body in a shroud.
You told me the courage of stars before you left. How light carries on endlessly, even after death. With sureness of breath, you explained the infinite. How rare and beautiful it is to even exist. I couldn't help but ask for you to say it all again. I tried to write it down, but I could never find the pen. I'd give anything to hear you say it one more time, that the universe was made just to be seen by my eye. I couldn't help but ask you to say it all again. I tried to write it down, but I could never find the pen. I'd give anything to hear you say it one more time, that the universe was made just to be seen by my eyes. With shortness of breath, I'll explain the infinite. How rare and beautiful it truly